Yo, what's up, everybody? This is coming live from the Slightly Buzzed podcast studio. Showing a little thigh here. All right.
In 3.
In 2.
In 1. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Slightly Buzzed Podcast. How we doing tonight, boys?
So good, dude. So good. Back in the saddle. Feeling good. Ready to bring this episode right to the faces of the people.
You know, it feels great to be back doing what we love to do. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's been too long.
How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good. You gave us a nice little and I was like, nice. Yeah, hey.
I'm feeling good. I'm excited, too, to get this rolling.
Yeah, so we took a little break there and
Little
just kind of
hiatus.
worked out some kinks of the podcast, some stuff on the back end. I think we got everything we wanted to get accomplished.
We're trying to make moves with this thing to make it as good as it can be. So,
Facts.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what that was. A little hiatus just to work out a few kinks here and there. Not even kinks, just making moves on small things. So,
Yeah, I think we've been pretty happy with the product, the content at least, and how we've been progressing.
mm-hmm.
But we just kind of want to make sure it gets to that next level of what we know we're capable of.
Yup.
And just, like I said, focus on bringing you guys the best content we possibly can. So,
And speaking of bringing you guys things, just a quick little update. Hats have shipped. So we can expect them in here pretty soon, hopefully within the next week or week and a half. I'm hoping. We'll keep you guys updated, though.
I think they're going to be here by Friday.
They're going to be elite.
That's soon, man.
Fingers crossed.
That's a pretty bold statement. I like it, though.
I'm looking for that one bright spot in 2020, man. And I feel
Bro,
like those
we are
hats
that bright spot for 2020.
We are. This podcast.
We're that shining beacon of hope and light for the people.
We are the shining city on a hill.
Yeah. They're just like,
That's
they look like
philosophy.
they have a good time. Let's go there. And we're like, come join us.
It's like, we got beer.
Yeah, we got beer and seltzers and kind of good conversations. Hey,
Take off your hoser. A quick side note: if nobody knows about the Great White North, like
Check it
late '80s, mid '80s Canadian humor, it's like a sketch. I don't call it a sketch show. It was like the Canadian Saturday Night Live for a while there.
good genuine humor.
Yeah, Bob and Doug McKenzie, which is Rick Moranis, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
I don't know.
But that's where that, hey, good day, eh? Welcome to the Great White North.
Yeah, so in case you guys are ever curious why we say A so much, it's because of that.
Yeah, and there's a movie called Strange Brew. Probably top 5 movie of all time.
Yep.
Safe to say.
It's about
Yeah,
a
go
guy who
check it
tries to
out.
take over the world using beer. How fitting is that?
It's elite.
Fantastic. Speaking of beer, Kyle, what do we got today?
Yeah, dude. Excited.
All right, so tonight we're going to be trying a beer from Motor City Brewing Works. They are right in the heart of Midtown Detroit, Michigan. So we're going to get a lot of culture behind this one. This is the Ghettoblaster Ale.
Interesting
folks.
name.
Say something nice about Detroit, or say nice things about Detroit.
There's plenty of good things to say about
I
Detroit.
love Detroit, man.
Oh,
There
baby,
she
there she
blows.
blows. So we're going to see if I can finesse this.
Oh, you got this. Oh, you're there.
Look at that.
Beauty. All
Look at
right,
the reach.
so the Ghettoblaster Ale. This is a classic English-style mild ale, tawny in color with a clean biscuit flavor. Ghettoblaster is also the beer you can hear, an ongoing documentation of the Detroit music scene.
Huh? What's that? What'd you say? Oh, you're a good beer? All right, cool, man. I'm excited to try you.
We'll take his word for it.
Yeah. Yeah, the cans are sick.
Ooh, that was probably my worst toss thus far of the series, but great catch there by Smola.
Yeah.
Ones and twos with the hands.
The can's really cool. It looks like it brings in a lot of different historical aspects of Detroit. Obviously, it says it's folks around Motown, so we got a boombox speaker with
Was that a blower up top?
with the blower up top.
Got the headers
exhaust pipes
out
going.
the side.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So
This
an
is a
ode
cool
to,
can.
Motor City as well.
Because what's more Detroit than Motown music and muscle cars? Nothing. That is nothing.
Good beer.
Yeah, well,
Great
I guess we
beer.
do have pretty good beer. That's fair. I'll give you that.
There's actually a lot of things you could say right there.
I'm just saying, when you think of Detroit, you think of Motown music, and you think of the auto industry.
And how bad the Lions are.
Oh my god. All right,
No,
so
we
this
don't
bad
think
boy-
about that.
This bad boy is, I'll use the term sparingly. I'm not sure if it's a good or bad term. This is a Ghettoblaster. It's like a boombox that you can
boombox.
take outside. That's what they would call it as a nickname. That's
Yeah.
why it's on the front.
Don't
cool.
be mad at me when you gotta buy Mad D batteries.
Okay, dude.
OG song right
I
there.
see you.
If you know, you know.
And if you don't know, now you know. Still a little shaken up over there, guy.
Oh, this pour's way darker than I
Yo.
expected it to be.
So this says it's 3.8% ABV. Is that correct?
Well, we're gonna need at least 24 more of these. Because
I
we
don't
only
know.
have 6.
Show's called Slightly Buzzed.
I'm trying to get there. Working on it.
We're still bouncing back from that Cinco episode, to be honest.
Something about tequila just, good lord. That's what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. That's like got a very amber color to it. It's like a hazy copper almost. That's a good looking beer though. I'm not gonna lie, for something that's only 3.8%.
Gotta lie.
Yeah, gotta lie. No, not gonna lie.
Like I said,
Surprised it poured this dark.
yeah, definitely darker than I would have expected. Solid head on it as well. Kyle's
Wow,
seems
it's
to be.
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Mine is
Yeah, I
really
poured
Mine's
mine a
slow,
little
too.
thin. You guys got a nice little. Kyle's got some head on his for sure. Yours and mine are about the same.
Yeah, but it's still hanging out. A lot of times with beers, even if you pour it real well where there's no head, they dissipate very quickly. Not the case with this one here.
It's definitely got like a malty note right out of the gate. Sniffing it, giving it a nice little sniff with the sniffer. It smells good, honestly.
Yeah, it smells delicious.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely
Maybe
getting
some toffee.
hints of caramel,
Yeah,
and I definitely smell the toffee as well.
yeah, can confirm.
I actually think it has a very yeasty scent to it.
Yeah,
Have
I'm also getting
Oh no.
like a hint of salt. You guys getting a salty whiff?
Yeah, but what does salt
whiff?
smell like? I know what you mean though.
It
Yeah,
smells
I
like
know
salt.
What you mean.
It kind of not. It doesn't smell like when you get to the ocean, but you know what?
Listen, dude, I'm just gonna chalk it up to your sniffer's a little bit better than mine.
Sure, I'll take it. I think that's a compliment. But all right, boys, how
What
about
do you
a
say
little,
we give her a sip?
little cheers to being back and
Cheers, fellas! Back in the
action.
Saddle Slightly Buzz podcast, episode 11.
Whoa.
Ghettoblaster.
That's delicious.
That is really good.
That is absolutely
great.
delicious.
It's got to just like, gosh, it just falls right off the back of the tongue, dude. Like, there's nothing to it. It just goes down so. Well, I shouldn't say there's nothing to it because that might sound bad, but it's got a really good flow.
Really good flow, really solid consistency.
Yeah,
It has a lot more flavor than your average 3.8% ABV beer.
I actually like the level of carbonation in it too. Like you get that, like you can tell, right when you like sip it, you get the carbonation, but it pretty much like falls off.
Yeah, and it doesn't interfere with the taste at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, I guess, balanced is a word that we like to use, but I think this encompasses balance pretty well in terms of overall profile.
Yeah. Kyle, you look like you got a perplexed face back
I
there.
am. It's silky. Consistency is very silky. It's
Okay.
smooth going down. You're right. I'm trying to figure out what that salt's not the right word, but I know what you mean.
It's-
and
See,
taste
I
it,
actually
too.
almost
me-
kind of get it on the back taste.
I was
back half.
about to say it smells salty, and I get the taste of salt as well.
Like-
in a very good way.
Like you swallow it and then you let it sit for a second, and then bang, like it just kind of creeps up on you. And then the more sips you take, get out of here. Take that elsewhere.
And I think that the taste here does confirm the nuttiness you guys were describing.
Yeah. It's
Kind of earthy too. Some earthy, like
You said
Undertones.
you said bread.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
You said bread when you were smelling it. Kind of get a little of that, but like a sweeter bread. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't want to
Yeah,
think
that's
about
fair.
bread being liquid. Something about that.
Well,
You know what I'm
All
saying? I don't think about bread being liquid either, but like it kind of tastes like a sweeter. There, it's got at least some strong hints of like sweeter bread, like almost a pastry.
yeah, I can get behind that.
What do the English call cookies? Chips? Biscuits?
That's fries.
Biscuits.
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 Scones?
What are fries?
Scones.
No, scones is a type of like dish, like a type of dessert.
It's a
I
chip. You're right. It's a chip.
No,
Yeah.
chips are fries.
That's what he
Chips
asked.
are fries. No, I said biscuits are
Oh, then
cookies.
you asked what were fries. All right, doesn't matter.
No,
No,
I asked what they called
he asked
cookies.
what cookies are.
Yeah, I asked what cookies were.
Is it crumpets?
I think that's a kind of cookie.
Yeah. Tea and crumpets. I'll stop my brutal English accent before it even gets going.
Yo, Nick, I know you work towards Detroit. Have you ever been to Motor City Brewing Works?
You know what? No, I have not had the pleasure of being there, or at least going there, I should say. I have some buddies that live pretty close to it, so I'm a little disappointed in myself that I haven't been able to scoot on over there. But I don't know. Have you?
No, I've never been. I've spent a decent amount of time in Midtown and downtown Detroit over the past couple years, like a lot. And I've hit most of the breweries down there, actually, but never Motor City Brewing Works.
Well, we have an adventure to take because I'm checking them out online. They got a real clean looking place, very open seating, good bar area. It's kind of got a, I don't want to call it an outdoorsy feel, a lot of wood in the
Like
design.
rustic almost?
Rustic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
Look at you.
log cabin-esque.
Yeah, kind of.
Perfect.
It's a little bit more modern than that, but it looks very clean, and it looks like they even have a beer garden out front.
Oh,
Dude, that's dope.
I
Beer
love
gardens are
those.
elite.
Yeah.
Especially
Bill's Beer Gardens.
Dude, nothing like sitting outside in a beer garden on like a nice day or like a nice evening. You know when like those evenings stay at like 75 degrees at night and you're just sitting outside just casually sipping some beers?
you got to watch out. Beer gardens are a dangerous thing because you think you're just hanging out, killing a couple beers, and then nighttime comes and it's still like 75, 80-ish in those summer nights. And then
Those
you're
few
like,
beers turn to a few pitchers.
yeah,
quick.
and you're just like, well, heck, let's just get another pitcher.
Cool.
And then beer garden shuts down. You're just like,
So we have to leave.
there's just like, there's another bar down the road. Like, let's tie one on, bro.
What do you mean you guys are closed? And they're like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And you're just like, let's keep the train moving.
It's like a Wednesday night. You're like, no.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's happened a few times, hasn't it?
More than once.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Not mad at it.
But yeah, this place sounds pretty legit, dude.
It looks really cool.
I kind of like when breweries do that style theme. Like, they don't make it anything too fancy. They almost just keep it, like, very... Like, the rustic theme keeps things very relaxed and casual.
Yeah.
And you can just go there and you don't have to feel like... I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like a restaurant. Like, when I go to a brewery, I don't necessarily want it to feel like a restaurant. Like, I want it to feel like...
It's a gathering place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I
like,
want-
it's an atmosphere.
I want to chill.
Yes.
Like if I'm a big fan of starting up conversations with people that I do not know.
Old men at the bar.
Dude, literally nothing beats talking to like a 60-year-old
Don't make me laugh
dude
when I'm
at the
sipping
bar.
my beer.
I don't know what it is. I'm just
Said
like,
nothing
hey,
beats talking to like a 60.
He's like, you never know where your night's going to end up. Maybe just start talking to an older gentleman at the bar.
I can think of
We're
a couple
just
things
like,
that might
what?
beat that.
I'm trying to find a sugar daddy, bro.
Holy smokes.
No, but no, dude, seriously, I don't know what it is, and you've witnessed it before.
Yeah, no,
I literally have the best conversations with like, I just feel like there's so much you can learn. They have way more life experiences than we do, and I just feel and we talked about this before. They lived in a cooler time, so they have always cool stories.
And they generally have good advice, too. And the best thing about it, too, when you're at a bar, like, few beers in, people get real friendly. At most, like, 98% of the time.
Lips get a little loose.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Whoa.
And they're just sitting there, and next thing you know, they're saying something, they're just like, well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but get a load of this.
Yeah.
And you're just like, God, this guy partied.
And-
Whatever.
Like if there's like a 60-year-old dude sitting at the bar at a craft brewery, let's say we're at Motor City Brewing Works, just having a couple beers. Chances are that guy's sick. Like if you're just up there chilling,
Yeah.
you're a cool dude. I can't wait to be that 60-year-old who just finds himself a nice little bar or a brewery and just hangs out there all the time.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for it.
It's going to be sweet.
I hope you gentlemen are there with me.
I'll probably be sitting at a stool there.
Yeah, Kyle's just like, you guys suck.
No, I'm not. I definitely want to go check it out.
He's like, we did
Kyle
this
will
enough
walk
when
in
we
and
were
be like,
22.
listen, be like, you guys have been coming to this place for a while. Here's your tabs. He's like,
Oh my
it's like,
God.
go get the hell out of my bar.
We're just like, hey,
Hey, your bar's our bar.
we're paying customers, kind of.
That's funny,
Oh,
man.
I'm pissed.
That'd be good. It sounds like a cool place. So we'll definitely have to make a little shot down there once
Yeah.
once everything gets back to normal.
Dude, 2 questions. 1, when do you think the bar is going to open up? 2, do you think we'll ever be back to, quote, normal?
I think restaurants are going to begin to open. I would predict at the latest end of June.
See, that's what I did think until California's like, yeah, we'll see you guys in August.
Yeah, but we're the mitten
Jeez,
state,
man.
okay?
Yeah, but Whitmer's been
So
putting
far away.
Whitmer's been putting a glove on over that mitten there.
Well, a mitten is a
Doubling
glove,
up.
but, I see what you're saying. I guess you tried. Okay, it worked. All right, whatever.
It landed, okay?
Kind of.
Like, we need no finger slits. This doesn't
Yes.
fit.
Somewhere's Paul Bunyan's just like, I don't need no glove.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Side note, I thought Paul Bunyan was real. Like
Yeah, me
I didn't realize that he was the
Guy who
what's
created
it,
Michigan.
folktale. I just thought he was like a famous lumberjack
Oh my
for the longest time.
So, boys, I like to think of myself as pretty much an expert when it comes to the Paul Bunyan story because it was a favorite and still is a favorite of mine to this day.
A connoisseur of Michigan folklore, if you will.
Arguably the best of the best, bud. The best of the best.
Top notch?
So, the way the story goes, okay, if my memory serves correct, which I'm 100% certain it does, is the Paul Bunyan was out in a snowstorm, unfortunately lost his mitten. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been outside without gloves on when it's cold outside, but it sucks. So he got a little mad, took one big swing with that axe of his, and happened to cut out the exact shape of his mitten in the form of the state of Michigan. And that's why our state looks so freaking cool.
See, that's cool and all, but like, did he find his mitten?
We don't ask questions, Tim. Okay? Here's what it is. That's a fact. That story is 100% true. No questions are needed.
So I was right. He
And
was
what's going
real.
on with the UP?
The UP? Well, first of all, that was owned by Ohio, so it's already
Dude.
tainted. But at the end of the day, it's a gray area of land, and we love that we own it now because we took it from those bastards.
Dude, I saw a meme today, and it was like, the fact that Wisconsin hasn't taken it back or taken over the UP just means just
Tells us everything we need to know about
It's like
Wisconsin.
they're straight up bitches.
Yo, I saw that too.
I was crying.
Yeah, we got a buddy whose family's from the great state of Wisconsin, and trust me, I thought about sending that to him.
Oh,
Just being like,
100%.
how do you
But,
feel?
Yeah, that's a crazy story, man. But
Yeah.
I don't.
Is it as crazy as 2020 though?
No,
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 he's not.
not
He's
not
quick
whatsoever.
with it.
So today I was listening to a podcast that happened right after rest in peace the legend Kobe Bryant, and they were talking about how long 2020 felt at that point.
Dude, it feels
And
fucking forever.
Before that, there were so many issues that had already come up. It just felt like everyone was like, yeah, new decade, let's go. And then 2020 was like, no, no. All these things happened, and that was before the pandemic stuff, before the murder hornets came through, or murder bees. It's just like, it is actually.
buzz.
I knew it was coming.
No.
It's crazy. And obviously we're making light of it, but like this year sucked.
Dude, it's been one thing
And-
after another.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if the new normal will be anything resembling of the normal. I don't know if we're gonna get back to anywhere remotely close to where we were before 2020. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately. Like, what's our next step here? You know?
Dude, I'm telling you what, man, it's a tough call. I was reading something the other day where a lot of companies, like Twitter, has permanently said, like, work from home is, like, a thing now. Like, nobody's coming back. Like, Twitter is fully work from home. And Google has, like, shifted, like, I think 70-something% of all of their employees work from home. From here on out, they have no plans of coming back anytime soon.
Jeez.
So, like, these are massive companies that are, like, leaders in industry that are, like, yeah, we're not doing this. Like, we're not even risking it. And it's crazy. But you were actually telling me something the other day. I think it was about a podcast you would watch regarding somebody who actually had COVID. I'm pretty sure it's pretty well known. I can't remember what it was, though. It might have been some Rogan podcast.
Not Elon Musk.
No, it wasn't Elon. No. Because I watched a little bit of that one. But
Oh no,
Michael Yo.
yeah, Michael Yo.
yeah, that sounds right.
The stand-up comedian
Mm-hmm.
who is, I think, fairly good friends with Joe Rogan. That definitely wasn't the first time he was on the show. And as I pour this beer, I'll give a little backstory. He, very healthy guy. I want to say he's in his early 40s.
Good pour.
Beautiful pour. And he was one of the first cases of COVID-19 in the state of California. Confirmed, at least.
That's crazy, actually.
At the hospital he was at, he was the first patient there. And
That would kind of suck, I'm not going to lie. Not to, like, interject, but, like, you roll in, they're like, you're the first COVID patient we've had, and you're just like, sorry.
Sorry.
Like, I would be like, oh, that sucks.
Well, it's crazy because he said he was in there March 2nd or March 9th.
Damn, that is early.
So, yeah, he was on the first wave. And like I said, this is a really healthy dude. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, works out regularly. Like, just a crazy, in shape, fit guy.
It's a good thing he's funny.
And, yeah. But, yeah, so he was explaining his story and his personal relationship with COVID. And he went through the ringer with it. He got double pneumonia as a result of it. His lungs filled with fluid. And I thought he had a very unique perspective on what we should do moving forward. He pretty much, well, first I'll say kind of another side story within his story. He was saying about 2 days in, he couldn't think, his head was hurting so bad, he couldn't breathe, and the doctors and the nurses in the room were debating whether to put him on a ventilator, which has been a huge hot button issue throughout this entire COVID pandemic. It's like, oh, we need more ventilators, flatten the curve, so, hospitals can get those in use. And he was saying that his doctor pretty much said to the nurses, we're not putting him on a ventilator because that indicates to the body that that it no longer has to work for him to breathe.
It's crazy.
And then he went on to say that 80% of cases, and it was in New York specifically, which has been hit the hardest, 80% of patients who get put on a ventilator die. So,
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because, like, your body's exerting a ton of energy trying to fight it, to like maintain your operating, like, your basic functions. So, like, if it goes, okay, this thing's breathing for me, I can like allocate energy elsewhere, and then all of a sudden it's just like, it literally just like tells itself it doesn't need to function like this. Right? Does that make any sense?
No, actually, I'm going to...
Kyle goes, no, that's stupid.
The exact opposite. Because if there was less energy being applied to breathing, then you would, based on your logic, have more energy to put into fighting the disease. You almost said that, and then you went, oh.
Yeah, okay, so, like, I guess that makes sense, but too, but, okay, so...
The other... essentially, when you're put on a ventilator, you're put under, no longer conscious, and you're in a sedated state. I got to imagine that holds some validity, and maybe that's specifically in his case because he's a very healthy guy. But the doctor pretty much told him, he was like, hey, doc, like, am I going to live? Or should I try to get my family in here? First off, he's like, your family can't come in here. And he was just like,
what?
He was telling about how he was texting he's got 2 kids and his wife that, like, yeah, everything's looking good, but he was texting his parents like, this might be it. There's just terrible stuff. Absolutely. I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the situation. But to me, it's like, all that showed me is we still don't really know what we're dealing with. And
no, there's definitely a lot of, like, gray area, for sure.
Yeah, and I was talking to a family member of mine who works within the scientific community, and he's actually working specifically on COVID, and he was like, yeah, right now it's still just a lot of trial and error. And he's like, with influenza, we've had over 120 years of researching how to deal with the flu and vaccines and all this stuff, and he's like, dude, the first couple cases were like January, in America at least.
Yeah.
It's not like China was necessarily sharing information about it back in October and September. So it got me thinking a lot about what we do from here. And we've got 50 different states which are going to have 50 different protocols and 50 different guidelines as to whether we're going to open the economy back up, we're going to let people move about freely.
I think that's a good thing, though.
Oh,
I'll just
yeah.
emphasize, some states are going to kill it, hopefully. Some states are probably going to struggle.
Yeah.
Obviously, New York is an X factor, so they're going to struggle. But I think being that we have 50 different states that are going to be able to take a stab at this is a good thing.
Yeah. My understanding of it is that, California just stated that they're going to be shut down through July. And I just don't think we know enough about it at this moment to make any decisions that rash.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I'm trying to say right now?
I also think that it's such like a bold statement. It's like you basically just told everybody like, yeah, you're not like nothing's changing this summer. Like I think going month by month or week by week at least gives people some like sense of hope per se.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, here we're coming up on the next deadline. Let's see what we have now. Like how are things looking? But when you say, yeah, we're not opening back up until April or August 1st.
Yeah.
And like that's the deadline. That would crush me.
Yeah. Also, there's two things that we know for sure. We know that this virus doesn't do it. It still spreads decently during hotter and more humid climates.
But it doesn't spread at all like what it's been.
Yeah. And we know scientifically that another wave of this is going to hit us in the fall.
Yep.
So my thought process has been like, all right, our economy is taking such a hit. And yes, I understand the economy isn't the most important thing in the world, but for a lot of people, they need jobs to live. These stimulus checks, the one that came out, like it's not going to happen. Or if they keep coming
one-time
out,
deal.
we already gained $1 trillion in debt
Yeah.
since this has started. That's not sustainable. We can't keep dishing this out. So we're going to either destroy our economy by not having people work in a responsible fashion, or by, just keep giving out all these stimulus checks. And to me, it seems almost irresponsible to commit one way or the other until we understand more about this virus. And to me, it makes sense for us to open up at least during the summer months, give people some time, and obviously do it responsibly, wear your masks, wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart from people as much as possible.
What do you guys think about the idea of like rolling out like certain industries like little by little? Like there are some things that you can argue like aren't necessarily essential, but like manufacturing is a huge part of the economy. And it employs a huge part of the economy. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go back to work, but at least start bringing people back in waves, maybe split up the shifts, get as many people working back again as possible, be creative with it while still allowing them to maintain, responsible, means of being out and about.
But you're assuming that if you do it that way, it's going to be better than just putting everybody back there. That is an assumption in that argument.
Yeah, 100% it's an assumption.
I don't know if you can make that assumption.
Well,
That's
all it is right now, though.
That's the assumption I'm trying not to make at this point. What I'm trying to say is we've got this few month window where we know it's not going to be as devastating as it's going to be in the fall or it has been before.
But we don't know that. What evidence do you have besides predictions to say that that's a fact? Because you started this conversation by saying we don't know basically anything.
We know for a fact that it doesn't spread as quickly and rapidly during these hot months. We know that. We also know it's going to...
I'm going to challenge you because...
Okay, because my very close family relative who studies this stuff every single day says we know that for a fact, and he's high up within the scientific community. So
yeah,
you were on that phone call too.
You're
heard
good.
it.
There's evidence to show that like the virus does have some sensitivity to UV light. That's pretty typical for these things. But
Yeah.
that would potentially eliminate some of it sticking on surfaces that's not in contact with people. That doesn't get past the part where it's inside somebody in a perfectly neutral environment and getting passed around.
I agree, and I'm not saying we shouldn't take the precautions to do that. We should increase testing and try to produce it. We should get manufacturing back open so we can produce more tests, have tests readily available so when people get back to work, we can do it. I just don't see the point in closing down the only time that we know there's a lesser risk of getting it passed around at a more rapid rate. I don't see how that's...
Sure. Well, I'm being an ass because I think that the question that is most important to honestly answer that nobody really wants to answer because it sucks is, let's just pretend for a minute that if we opened up, it was going to go very poorly. And that was a reality that we knew with a economy that's heading down, we might have to face. What obligation do we have as a society to try to prevent this thing?
Right.
And
So
it
I
seems
think
like
you're doing a great job at like playing the devil's advocate, and like I understand why because there's a lot of questions that aren't answered yet. But like
I think he's
that's the
raising
most
a...
important
no, he's
question.
definitely raising
I was about
great
to say,
points.
I think what he's trying to say basically is what is the morality
Right.
of either...
Let's just say we don't have good evidence to make a decision with.
Well, do you?
what would we say we owe to one another in terms of how much restrictions that we have to have on ourselves?
Well, that's what I was about to say. The morality of safety versus freedom, and the balance of that incurs. Like, if what we held highest, what we are currently holding highest, is the value of human life, correct?
Yeah.
So, in this assumption that we stay closed, we self quarantine for a year until we figure this out, right?
Sure.
In the hierarchy of values, that would be human life at number one, correct? That's what you're assuming in this current situation. That's why we're doing
Kinda.
all this. Why do we drive cars every day? Why don't we quarantine for the flu? Because even though there's less human life lost, why do we let people eat fast food? Why do
No,
we let people smoke?
That's a really good question because that gets exactly at what I'm getting at. Which
Yeah,
is
that's
that
what I was trying to-
Eventually, we will hit the point where the benefit of reopening will, if we're not
Outweigh.
already there,
It will outweigh.
it's going to totally outweigh it. And now suddenly we're going to have to avoid inertia in our thinking. Where if we've created this situation where we're like, shut down, this thing's horrible, this is bad, we may have to actually step back and be adults and be like, this sucks. This is not ideal, but this is the reality we face. And now we need to do our best job to achieve the best outcome possible. And we
Yeah.
need to figure out where our priorities lie.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, exactly what you said. I mean, you make some good points, but I think opening up to some degree or to some capacity is definitely going to be something that we have to explore because I don't think staying shut down is going to be beneficial for anybody. Like, I understand that some people are going to be put at risk, and unfortunately, that's just the way life goes. And I hope that I can be a part of the people who start going back to work because I miss being out and like being at work. So, I don't have the right answers. I don't think anybody has the right answers, or else we would be making moves and taking actions. But I think that opening up is something we have to strongly consider.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you having the priority of opening up, I do as well, because I think at some point we have to outweigh the risks of governmental enforced lockdown. I'm not saying that people who are higher at risk groups can't continue to quarantine. I'm not saying we shouldn't give those people resources. But what we understand is a lot of people have had this and just been completely asymptomatic. We know that. So at what point can we pander to such a small percentage of the population at the greater detriment to the majority of the population? And like I said, we should have safety nets of, welfare packages for those who are higher at risk and cannot necessarily afford to risk going out and re-entering the economy at this point until we really know what we're dealing with. But I think it's irresponsible to make such general policy prescriptions so early in the process, especially at a time where it is currently believed, to the best of our projection knowledge, that we have this window to get the economy back and going. And I don't like the idea of having, I don't like the idea of what could come of 6 months, a year and a half of complete quarantine and shutting the economy down.
No.
I don't think as a society that is
It's not
possible.
sustainable.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. I'm not saying we would fall into absolute anarchy, but I think
there would be a lot of unrest.
Yeah,
There would
and
be-
I don't want to know what that looks like. So the quicker we can figure this stuff out, the better. And the quicker we get people back to work, the better. I don't see anything morally wrong with saying that, and I don't see any reason why it can't happen.
Yeah, I tend to think of it, Nick, the way you put it a minute ago was kind of harsh. So just to bounce around with your idea in what I would consider like a softer way, maybe opening up is the priority. And for those who would be higher risk, the price they pay is that they know that they're going to now be a part of a society where things are not as stable as they used to be. And maybe the burden that we all take on as individuals that I would consider to be lower risk is we do the things like wear a mask to try to prevent transmission. And we make businesses follow strict guidelines as how they maintain things and keep them clean. Maybe we go the extra mile as a society to create the most, I won't use the word sterile, but safe environment possible for the majority. And we all try to figure out ways to contribute while not forgetting that we still need to go on. And we have to just accept that. And we have
Like,
to,
yeah, I think I stated it earlier, like, we have to be creative with our solutions if we're going to decide to do this stuff. Because we have to take correct precautions, and we've never had to deal with anything like this before. So I definitely think there's ways to approach it correctly. Now, not every single one of them is going to be obvious, but in time you learn. So
Yeah.
You guys like the state by state approach, or like the way things have kind of been not top down, but instead just at the bottom making decisions?
I do personally.
Yeah, I've said this. I guess I don't know if I've said this, but I've thought that was kind of the beauty of the United States for a long time, whether it was dealing with pandemic policy issues or not. But one of the biggest reasons why the United States is so great is, like, if you don't like a law, you don't like a certain policy in your state, you don't like the community, whatever it is, you can move. You can go to a different state. It's not like moving countries where you have to apply for citizenship. The difference between California and Texas, although
I see what you did there. Yeah,
it is huge. It's like two different nations, essentially, but it is two, it's not like you have to apply for a visa, get a work permit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it sounds like Elon Musk is certainly considering the options between the two right now.
Know anybody? You know anybody?
Yeah, you know anybody?
From California to Texas?
It's funny. That's not what I was thinking at all. But
yeah, you fucking nailed it.
I mean,
but no. In all seriousness, I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, look at states like Georgia's already reopening up. Florida today said sports teams can come play in Florida.
Is Arizona still on that docket for having major league teams move out there, or is it just
Florida
right
I think Arizona is focusing on baseball. I think they want to do kind of the spring training thing over there.
Yeah,
which is cool.
That'd be sweet, man.
But we're seeing what the downfall could be right now, but I don't think we're seeing the full extent of what it could be. Also, I think we've done a good job flattening the curve. We've helped the medical system out. We've helped limit the amount of casualties as best as we possibly can. But like you said, I think moving forward, we need to be proactive in reopening while holding a high moral standard of not trying to screw any of the high-risk groups.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's interesting. I guess I did bring up Texas and
yeah, dude, you kind of brought that in
Texas
pretty
and
well.
California. I'm stoked about that. I was just like, most two polar opposite states go.
You're not wrong.
That might be what he was thinking.
Yeah, so kind of going with the COVID situation. So the state of California
has challenged the smartest man on earth.
False.
I'm just kidding.
The state of California. Well, I think he might be the smartest.
He's an alien.
Yeah, dude.
No. Elon's insane, and I honestly think he's too smart, and I think that's why people think he's crazy, because I think he just sees beyond what we see on a daily basis.
He always talks about how he can't exactly put what's in his head into words well for people.
I mean, if you watch his interviews, you see it in real time.
Yeah, it's nuts. But so the state of California has said manufacturing is set to reopen.
Mm-hmm.
That's good as long as you follow the strict guidelines. So Elon said, "All right, let's reopen Tesla back up." And what was the county's name?
Starts with like an A.
Alameda.
Yeah.
Alameda County. Yep. They were like, "Oh, no, you can't open this back up." So Elon was like, "All right, bet. We're moving to Texas or Nevada. We're out of here." And that caused a huge issue. It's like, well, you're screwing over a bunch of jobs. It's like, well, the county's already doing that.
No, they're already
right
doing
now.
that, yeah.
And he was just like, well, we're opening up tomorrow, whether you guys like it or not. I'll be there on the front lines helping you guys work. And if law enforcement comes,
badass.
Arrest me. And don't arrest any of my workers, because these guys and girls, they're just trying to get their lives back.
Talk about a leader of industry, a guy who's actually willing to be like, hey, we're doing this, we're coming back to work, like, we know you need, like, I want to bring you guys back, and if you're willing to work, like, we'll happily put you on, and I'll be right there with you, so if anything goes down, it's on me.
Yeah.
Like, for somebody in his position to be that dedicated to it, that's awesome.
It is cool.
Like, I have huge respect for that.
My general thoughts on Elon as a whole, I do think he's one of our Thomas Edisons, one of our Galileos. Like, I think he's that. I think he's today's Renaissance man. He does so much stuff. The Neuralink thing he was talking about on the Rogan podcast, he is talking about completely transforming the way society functions.
And having it in a functional state within 5 years.
Yeah, he's like 5 to 10 years. Talking's obsolete.
That's obviously like if everything goes well in the short term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't exactly deliver on all of his vehicles, but he gets them out eventually. I got to give him credit for that.
Honestly, dude, I
Well,
was surprised that
dude.
Cybertruck came in as quick as it did.
Cybertruck isn't fully.
It's not.
Yeah,
That is the
no.
priority, apparently, though.
Yeah,
No,
he said it is Cybertruck's going to be the next one in production, then the Roadster.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I understand it's not in production, but like actually bringing it from a concept into a vehicle that's been approved for production and having
Okay.
orders placed for
Okay.
it.
I see.
Yeah. Well,
That's what
no.
I'm
So
getting at.
I
interesting.
see.
The reason why it takes his cars long to come out is their business model's crazy. So you know what's funding all of the production for, or funding
I
a
do
lot
know
of
this,
it?
So that's Nick.
Yeah. Do you know what is funding the production or the majority of production for the Cybertrucks?
Enlighten me.
It's the orders for the Roadster.
Really?
Yeah, so like there's a reason why you have to pay in full, and Tesla's like, yeah, we don't know exactly when you're gonna get this car, but give us 150 grand.
Yeah.
And there's enough people who are like, okay.
I mean, it's crazy, dude. You pay $150,000 and you get a car that's quicker than the most expensive car on the face of the earth that's designed for one thing only, and that is to break the land speed record.
Yeah, it is nuts. So first off, interesting business idea. He's just continually kicking the rock down the road. He's just like,
Yeah,
and it's smart, and he gets a lot of government subsidies. So,
he definitely does.
which
But-
is fair because Tesla is, I believe, moving transportation in the right direction.
Yeah.
And kind of, like I said, he's taking society another step forward.
Yeah, definitely in a lot of regards. He definitely is. I think it'll be interesting to see how a lot of his ideas regarding transportation, like trucking and mass, like community transportation, like busing and all that stuff, will play out. I mean, we haven't seen anything like it, so it's not going to be an overnight thing. But I think he has a lot of great ideas for it.
I think the way to describe Elon Musk is he was like, hey, city of Los Angeles, let me dig a bunch of tunnels underneath.
Yeah. Well, he bitches about the traffic all the time.
And
He's like,
people-
there's too much of
And
it.
the government of LA, who's super restrictive on most things, is just like, okay, go for it.
Well, he's achieved that level of status and confidence in people.
that's
They're
how
like,
nuts
cool,
he is.
I can't figure out how you do
I mean, dude, SpaceX is doing some crazy shit too. I mean, he's all over the board.
The Boring Company, which is literally, he was talking about it on the Rogan podcast. He's like, Tesla and SpaceX takes up like, he said it in like brain capacity. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it takes up like,
Percentage.
yeah, he was like takes probably between the two like 65 to 70% of my brain capacity. And he's like, these other off projects, they take like 15 to 20. And then he's like, family takes like 5. Like, this dude he really is just like,
Super dialed in.
it's crazy
Seems
every
to do what
single
he
day.
likes.
He said when they were first bringing out Tesla, he would like sleep 2 hours a day on the floor of the Tesla plant.
You know what though? I'm cool with that. I love it.
100%.
I love the passion. I love the fact that he's doing something that makes him only want to sleep 2 hours a day, whether that's out of like fear of underperforming or it's just out of sheer love of what he does.
I think
Cool
it's
with it.
the love of what I think he's just one of
Yeah.
those people who he gets an idea in his head and he's like, we're doing this, and he's a ridiculously like genius person. Like it's insane.
So, what do you guys think about Neuralink? You mentioned that.
Yeah, so I
What is your
definitely
gut
watched
reaction?
like
Don't
what he had
like
to
it.
say about it. I think there's
Nope.
interesting aspects of it for medical purposes. I don't like it makes me think of Wall-E, not gonna lie, how far in depth, or at least how far in depth Rogan tried to get into it.
Yeah.
Elon didn't necessarily play into a lot of it. He was kind of just like, this is what we're developing it for, and yeah, I guess it does have the potential to do this, and this. But like when you start to think about that, it's like I feel like it just could potentially create a huge disconnect if what Rogan was implying it could do actually happens. So
The thing is, okay, so
like
for
everybody interfaces without actual human contact.
yeah, I was about to
That's
say.
wild. That's what I'm getting at.
So I'm assuming not everyone watched his interview on Joe Rogan, but he pretty much said this Neuralink thing, it'll be able to connect to your brain and then transmit your thoughts to other people with the Neuralink.
Yep. Without
And-
having to speak.
Yep. So I hate that. Personally, I think we grossly underestimate the importance of human connection in
But why
today's
is that not
society.
more connected? Why is that not more connected?
Because I think there's intrinsic truths. I think there's deeply ingrained. I said a certain word for it. Oh my gosh, you would know this too. I think there's deeply ingrained truths, I guess, or reward systems is what I was looking for in our body. And this isn't backed by science or anything like that. But I do believe it's true. Through evolution and through how we developed, I think there are certain things that lead to, quote, happiness in this life. I think going through struggle and overcoming, it's one of those things. I think if you go out and hunt and find your own food and then cook it, there's an intrinsic thing because for thousands of years, humans had to do that to survive. I think communicating with others is one of those things. I think a deep connection between others, and I guess
It's deeper though. What I'm getting at is like this is.
but
Like,
I don't think it is.
the
I
deepest.
think being inside of someone else's thoughts would be incredibly detrimental to society. You can't control your thoughts 24/7.
It would certainly change things.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
Well, my take is I haven't been able to draw like a solid consensus in my mind about this because one, I have no ability to understand what it would really be like, what the experience of having Neuralink in my life, in interfacing so wholeheartedly with other people. I have no idea what that would be like, but I mean, I just think about speech. It's me trying to tell you what's in my head the best I can through words. What if I could just like think something and then just look at you and you were like, oh, gotcha. All right.
Sure. But
Yeah.
there's also things where body language and expression of thoughts.
I know, but this would be truer than body language because my body language is a reflection of what's going on in my head, and we're past that. It's like you bypassed all of these other parts of communication, and I can just give you in its purest form exactly what I mean. There's dangers to that because you have to imagine in everyday life. Yeah, there's
I
certainly
hold my
things you
tongue a
shouldn't be
lot.
honest. Yeah,
I would be screwed. Everyone would think so poorly of me. But like, I don't see how that could be conducive to a successful society.
I don't know how you could say that though because now you have.
A happy society.
I don't even know if we could jump that far. I think we don't know yet.
I think this is anecdotal evidence, so take it for what it was. My best experiences are unconnected, natural experiences with other human beings, per se. And I think that's the root of all happiness. And I understand the idea that it is a more pure form of connection, if you want to say that.
Mhm.
I don't see it working out like that. Maybe I'm stubborn,
So
Do I really have to
resistant
bring up
to
Sky?
change.
Do I have to be the asshole who brings up Skynet? Is this how it goes?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Terminator.
Yeah,
Where it's
see, I haven't
like
seen Terminator. in
Everything becomes linked into one central hub, and then something happens, and it's detrimental to society.
Dude, that's a whole nother question. Let's
Well,
just
yeah,
pretend there
how
was a
far does it
central
go,
hub.
though?
Bro, if there was a central hub, who safeguards that?
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
in charge?
That's what I don't like too.
I
Is
think
that you're
Elon Musk-
interfacing with everything. So where's the firewalls? Where's the safeguards? Where's the safety nets? What's to prevent people from doing certain things and bypassing certain things?
And let's say, just like any other technology, it can be hacked. So
Yeah.
who knows how they can send false thoughts to other people about what you're saying.
They already do it through TV. We don't need it actually in our brains.
Yeah.
It's
I
propaganda,
also,
kid.
Okay, this is a complete and different total note. I think there is something distinctly and very important about maintaining us as humans. I think the minute prosthetic, like for example, prosthetic legs are better than human legs, more efficient. You can feel like you can with humans, or with like your actual feel. It's essentially no different, right?
Yeah.
I think there is something important about maintaining the idea of being a human and the physical nature of being human. I think that's incredibly important.
So here's what I think. I think if we could jump from where we are now to a point where everything was interconnected in a true, pure form, the idealized version of connection, that would be great. But the steps that have to be taken to get there, I don't trust them one bit.
Nope.
I think there will reach a point where we will be so connected, but the evil that is possible with human beings will ruin it. Like
Well, yeah, because
if you hack the system,
Not
bro,
everybody has the same moral compass.
No,
Some
and I
people
don't
are
trust
very
us to get there.
agenda driven.
I think
agree.
that's a good way to put. I think that's kind of what I was trying to say. This, among other
Sure.
things, like I don't think it would work out.
don't know.
I think I've read too much human nature philosophy for it to.
I agree because there's too much lag time where there's humans involved. With
Yeah,
the
like
ability
let's
to
say
screw it up.
let's say
As a
somebody
side-
walks up to you and they're somebody you don't necessarily care for, and they start talking to you, and in your head you're just like, not this frickin' guy, and then they just know that, and they're just like, oh,
That's
Oh,
why
I
I was
guess
saying
I don't
I'd be
have to
screwed.
talk to him.
That's work.
That's just
just
like,
solves the
that
problem.
is work.
like, let's say he says something to me, and I'm just like, I fucking hate this guy, or whatever. Like, what is this? And it's
Well,
just
see,
like,
you
knows.
say that all the time.
Well,
He knows
yeah.
in the purest form.
it would be the most. It'd be the purest form of just like, God damn it, dude, what?
Yeah. I think something like Neuralink could be so, I guess catastrophic isn't the right word, but so significant that it would completely reshape everything we do.
Yeah.
Like not even necessarily just like people to people communication, but something else I was thinking about is like how can you only limit it to like one at a time?
Right.
You know, because if we're all interconnected, wouldn't we be continually hearing everybody?
Yeah, I'm sure there's ways that the brain can just. I don't know. I have to imagine you can like regulate it with your own brain power.
Like Superman, get the
Yeah.
solar-powered Neuralink. Just
Yeah,
fly in the sky.
you know what I'm saying though. Like it's
well, that's the thing though.
Or
Like part
do
of it too is like it's being developed for people who have like no like sensory ability, right? Like can't move certain
Yeah, like
parts of their
brain
bodies.
damage that can be fixed with something that could take the place of the brain.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Right.
I know.
So that's its current purpose. So
if-
it's
yeah,
ultimately
if it-
enhancing.
if it stays in that realm, I'm so cool with it. Anything to
Yeah.
help.
But will it? Probably not.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if it can be
exactly.
used to enhance people, why wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, but I don't know.
Well, it's not. You're kind of describing a scenario where you're not being enhanced. You're just getting back to baseline because there's been damage, right?
Well, no, I get that part, but like taking it beyond that.
That's
Like
what I'm
people
saying.
who are
Like,
fully functional and like using it for them to be like have way more like acute and like better overall motor skills. Probably, I assume that it could translate to that. Could you make like slightly?
dude, could you like have? That's an interesting question because then it's like hitting a baseball, for example.
Yeah. What if you go from like I don't want to be gumpy anymore, so then you get this, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, now I'm athletic.
I completely
now
take
Bumpy and smart.
Yeah.
take back everything. I want Neuralink.
But like, could this affect sports? Major
Definitely.
league players?
Could.
The thing is, I don't think something like that could be possible in sport at all. You know,
Because
Because it would just give
No, it could.
each team such a severe competitive advantage.
oh, okay, that's fair. I guess yeah, the Astros could cheat way easier. That
Yeah,
would
they
be
did it pretty easily the last couple times.
Telekinesis.
yeah.
They're
They're
like-
just like he got somebody out there and they're just like the batter and he's just like nice.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
curveball coming in. Yeah, I don't know, man. That could change a lot of stuff. But speaking of sports,
Curveball coming in hot.
we
Wait, is he throwing a curveball or a fastball? Is it a curve fastball?
it's like obviously he hasn't made up his mind yet.
It's a hybrid.
No,
The game is changing.
the cutter.
That's funny. What were you saying? Didn't you tell me sports like coming back soon? They're
Yeah,
gonna start
that
moving things ahead.
like kind of bring this podcast in a little more lighter note. Like we are starting to get the beginning of sports back. We saw UFC 249 this past weekend, which I don't think either of you watched.
Yeah, no, didn't get a chance. I saw some highlights for it.
But-
The fights looked pretty good, but didn't watch.
Okay, first off, the card was stacked. When you have, who was it? You had Cowboy against, I can't even remember who he fought, but that was on the prelims. If Cowboy's on the prelims,
When was that Cowboy McGregor fight? So how much?
6 months ago, 4 months, 5 months ago.
So Cowboy basically got right back into camp then.
he always has.
Yeah? Is that how it goes?
Cowboy's
Yeah.
a fighter.
Okay, for sure.
Anthony Pettis, Showtime Pettis.
That
That's
who
who
it
it was. Yeah. Bang. Maybe I already got Neuralink, dude. But
Oh
I
my
hate
God.
this
with a severe lag. But yeah,
Tim's
I-
still
I
beta,
think it
beta
was-
testing it.
Yeah.
Because he's a beta.
He's like,
He's
got,
like,
target acquired. Right?
yes. Missiles launching.
but yeah, I think the UFC did a. Dana White, all credit goes to him. He this entire time he's like, we're not going to stop.
Yeah.
And honestly, the card was a huge success. They did have a fighter who tested positive. Just
Seriously?
quarantined him off, and he was off the card. Like it was pretty simple. Everyone tested very regularly throughout the entirety of the weekend or the 2 days they were there.
Did they have like spectators at the fights?
No spectators. And here's an
Right.
interesting thing. So they had John Anik, Joe Rogan, and Daniel Cormier doing the play-by-play calling on the side. And they were sitting around the ring. And they were, obviously they're making comments about what they think fighters are doing right, what they're doing wrong, what they need to adjust, because that's what they do. But in a normal stadium,
They all sit
like,
right next to each
it's-
other.
Nah, yeah, I'm just laughing. Joe Rogan's like, he's getting punched a lot. I think he needs to throw a couple punches back. That would probably help him out here.
Yeah, but the craziest thing is the fighters could hear them
Really?
and were adjusting their fights or like their strategy
yeah.
based on like, I mean, DC's one of the all-time goats, Daniel Cormier. So when he says he's got to check that leg kick or else he's going to have serious problems in the second, third round. Next thing you know, he's checking the leg kick.
How do you think the fighters felt about this?
And they talked about it after the
Actually,
fight,
like,
and they were
kinda
like,
it.
not gonna lie, it was. I actually watched a Henry Cejudo interview today, and he was like, "I think I liked it better without fans." He said it was more of a one-on-one combat situation. It wasn't a show. He's like, if you're a fighter, not in it for the money.
Yeah,
if
you don't
are
care
a
about the show. You're just there to
fighter,
fight.
he said it was better. You could hear your coaches better telling you what to adjust. You could hear what the other team's coaches were saying, so he knew what was coming.
Yeah, but think
Very
about
interesting.
like the mental warfare. If you hear the other coach say something, if it was me, I'd be like, all right, that could happen. But wait, what if
Reverse
now he doesn't
psychology,
do it
say the
because
opposite of
now
what you
I
want.
think it's coming. He's baiting me.
What Cejudo said was his team had keywords, and they would be like, and they're like, "Come on, keep it up." It would be like if they said "keep" or something like that. That would be like
What is this? 21.
attack the leg or
This iced
something.
tea's too sweet.
So honestly,
Table's low.
they. Dude,
Sorry.
This is what we're talking about.
I'm sorry.
He actually
I'm
makes a
sorry.
good movie reference, so it's not bad.
Not terrible.
Thanks, Big Chief.
Welcome.
Yeah, we know. But yeah, so like I think it was a huge success. Pay-per-view numbers are going to come out soon, but it completely controlled social media. Not to mention the fights were phenomenal. Justin
Yeah.
Gaethje and Tony Ferguson. I feel bad for Tony Ferguson because now he's waited 8 years since his last loss, and he hasn't gotten the legitimate title fight against Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
And so he trained, 6 months for the Khabib fight, which is going to be on the ground, grappling, in the scramble, all that stuff. And he's got to fight this absolute monster in Justin Gaethje. And he just 1-2-pieced him up the entire time. And it was a beautiful game. Like, arguably the cleanest UFC game plan I've ever seen executed as well as it was. And he just, Tony Ferguson stood there and took shots. Absolute bombs to the face for like 4.5 rounds. The ref called it, and he was pissed about it.
We got to
Tony
get this
was?
guy
But,
ringside.
Yeah,
Tony was mad.
Tony was very
Get
mad.
this guy
Tim
ringside with a
ringside.
mic, yeah. Just let him call the fights.
It'd probably be pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he'd pick up a lot really quick too, and just
100%.
be nailing it.
Who?
You?
You.
Oh, yeah, dude, I love fighting.
It's like, twist his dick. You guys know exactly the video I'm talking about. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
Yes, but it's one of those things where
Oh my God.
moving forward, MLB says they're looking at. They saw what the UFC did. They saw if you keep it on a smaller scale, no fans or anything like that. Tests are available now. We're mass producing them. We saw a successful sporting event, and
Yeah.
so many eyes were on it.
I think that's like there are certain sports that like play really well into not needing fans in attendance to like still like encompass the sport itself. Like NASCAR's coming up here pretty quick.
Sunday.
Yeah, like fans are a part of NASCAR and they're a huge part of NASCAR and they're very dedicated to NASCAR, but to watch a race like fandom like cheering, you really just hear the cars for the most part.
Yeah.
Whereas like other sports like the noise that the fans pump into the stadium, that's a big difference. And it makes a big difference, especially for TV viewership. So
Yeah, like
hilarious.
watching college football without fans is gonna suck.
yeah, dude, it's gonna be weird.
Suck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be college football, so I'm all about it. But you've watched I don't know, maybe I'm a maniac, but like you've watched spring practice highlights or spring game highlights where
It's
there
just
really isn't
quiet.
too many fans. It's just like, eh.
Yeah,
And that's like
no heckling.
some of the coolest things about
certain sports just
NFL.
need it.
The 12th man in Seattle. That is a huge aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, college football.
Some of the loudest
atmospheres.
stadiums in the world.
Rocking. Basketball playoffs.
Yeah.
They get crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Watching a basketball game with no fans in the stands is really weird because all you hear is like squeaking and the guys just going, cut, cut. Cut.
I think basketball will be way better than football without
Oh, yeah.
fans. because
sure.
you do hear a lot of banter between players. Like if you just watch team scrimmages or practice or something like that,
Yeah.
you get a lot of that with like Olympic practices and stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff's really cool to hear what they're saying. You know what's going on, the little chit chat between the two. Football's a little too.
The beautiful thing, hear me out on this.
So like, it's all gonna be blurred out.
I think the beautiful thing about some of these stadiums being as large as they are is that they could probably bring fans in to a certain capacity and like space them out accordingly, as long as they're brought in, like in a safe manner per se. They're not all piled up at the gates.
Well,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like doing it right and putting like maybe 25, maybe like 15-20% capacity in there just to
Yeah.
get some people in the seats.
And that's what the Korean Baseball League.
Korean?
Yeah.
Baseball League.
Don't they have a deal with ESPN right now?
Yeah, they do have a deal with ESPN. If you want to watch some Korean baseball at 7:30
Yeah,
a.m.
it's super early, dude.
If you think I haven't watched at least 3 of those games, you're wrong. But I need sports. I need it. But they have fans who sign a waiver when they go. They're like, you can't sue us for anything. You're doing this at your own risk. And they have the capacity at like, I wanted to say they capped it out at 1,000 people. Obviously, 1,000 at the big house compared to 115,000, still gonna suck. But
Just think of the people chasing home runs. You got to run like quarter way around the stadium. You see the guy on the opposite end eyeballing it too. You can just lock eyes.
You're just like 6 feet, back the F up.
they both get 3 feet from the ball. They're just like, so what do we do here?
It's mine. That'd be hilarious. They both go to pick it up at the same time, smash heads. No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The NBA said they're thinking about having all the teams stay at like Disney World or a casino, and just having a big court there, like 2 or 3 courts.
At a casino, Michael Jordan's like, I'm coming out of retirement.
He's like, for the blackjack
He's
tables.
sitting there smoking a
Yeah.
cigar with like a glass of whiskey or bourbon or whatever, and they're just like tapping on the shoulder like, hey, team takes a court in about 15.
He's
"Ah,
like-
one more.
Yeah, literally.
He's
Beast
just
MJ.
like, top me off.
About to show
I'm
these
sorry.
youngins how it's done.
Yeah, what were you saying? I cut you off. I just thought of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're talking about that. I think the NBA Players Association yesterday, they sent out like a group text to the best players in the league, which is kind of interesting, as if the 10th man on the bench doesn't have any input on this.
Yeah.
But they were like, and most of the players want the season to resume, so they're looking into different
Well, yeah.
options, and they were going to do something like, if someone tests positive for it, kind of what the UFC did, you're just done, and you're out. They also said that they can't confirm that teams on the bubble of making the playoffs are going to get to participate. It's more likely that they're going to cut the regular season where it's at. Whoever was in the top 8 is going to make the playoffs.
Just, yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Which is unfortunate, but a little tournament-style basketball NBA playoff wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
I'm
would-
sure those guys would go out there and play so hard, too, at the same. I'm sure it'd be
They're all
great
be-
that they've all had time to heal. They're just been.
The other thing is, there will always be an asterisk next to the season, so whoever's the champion's not going to be a legitimate champion.
Hey man, go grab some highlights while the season continues. Show
Yeah.
off your stuff.
Yeah,
Get on the
whatever.
court.
Especially, I mean, dude, I feel so bad for all the college athletes that got screwed out of like their senior years and like the spring sports and
I
stuff.
think, well, all spring sports said they have another year of eligibility.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It still sucks though, because like, yeah, you got to go through a whole nother school year. Who actually wants to? I mean, you know what that's like. So like, who actually wants to do that?
And that's bad.
I mean, I'm sure some of these athletes are not mad about it because they don't
Well-
have a career in sports beyond their last year of college. So I'm sure they'd be
Sure.
happy to come
Also-
back. But a lot of them are probably just like, damn.
The one thing, though, I think a lot of, like, let's say seniors, they can be graduates. You can be on the team and not be enrolled in school. That's a thing.
I thought you had to be in like a class. Like you had to have some credits.
Nope, if you already trying to think of a good example.
Imagine being the guy who's a grad transfer has no classes.
No,
if that's a real thing.
grad transfers, you have to.
Okay.
But you can graduate early. So, like,
Oh.
football players can graduate in the spring and then play that fall semester without going to class.
Yeah, but then let's say, so what? Then let's say you're a spring sport athlete. Do you have to go to class in the fall, or do
I
you just
doubt
pick
it.
classes back up in the spring, or for the second half of?
I think if you graduate and you have 1 year of eligibility remaining, or one season, you're good to go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be sweet. I don't know the rule on it,
Who
but
was it? There was a notable.
I don't
It'll
know.
come to me in like 2 minutes.
It's probably Tom Brady.
No. No, it was a big Michigan football player talking about how it's been nice for him to just be able to concentrate on football.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that'd be sweet to be like the one dude, or maybe like the one of a few people who are just like, oh yeah, you guys are still in class. Yeah, no, I just show up to play.
Yeah,
Already
exactly.
done with that. That'd be sweet.
And it's attractive to the players because they can stay another year and hone in on their craft more so than they've been able to.
Right.
If you have professional prospects, let's say for a college football player, you're graduating and right now you are perceived as like a fringe draft pick, 6th, 7th round, maybe undrafted free agent, or you could stay another year and just do nothing but focus on football.
Yeah, you're gonna stay. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Because you'll start for one, for two, you'll be able to put more tape together.
Yeah.
Get better. Yeah, dude. And then like you can also start like recruiting yourself out to like some of the different organizations. Like just send them tape constantly. And like
100%.
I'm sure your coaches have connections, so yeah, you might as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just happy that sports are coming back, dude. I need something. I don't care if it's NASCAR. I'll sit there. We can go 200 miles an hour all day long. I'm all about it.
I'm all about it too, man. But
You know what else I'm all about?
this beer.
Dude, this beer. Yes.
This beer's been phenomenal.
I think this is honestly the first time I've had a beer from Motor City Brewing, to be like entirely honest. Like I don't know if I can't think of any other ones that I've had. I looked like when we were looking at them, none of them struck me as like something that I've had before. Which
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know.
I'm fairly confident I've had. They make nut brown ale, right?
They do.
There's a
Yeah,
couple of nut brown ales though.
No, this one's specifically called. Their nutty brown ales are a thing, but they have a beer called nut brown ale, and
Who
I've
else makes
definitely had
another
that
one
before.
like that? I don't know. I can't remember.
A bunch
but-
of places.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
D's Nuts.
Yeah.
That's a very popular one. But yeah, getting back to Ghettoblaster, it's just been a phenomenal drinking experience.
It's really smooth. It really like it's an easy sipping beer. The alcohol content's not too high, so you can it's easy to drink a few of them and enjoy it and not feel like you're getting absolutely annihilated, which
Yeah.
I actually appreciate about it.
And the other thing is,
So.
it's got a lot of flavor, a lot of depth to it, but it's not sitting heavy whatsoever. So
Yeah.
it is a light beer with a much more fulfilling profile as a whole.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you make a good point when you say it's got a lot of depth to it because you get a lot of different flavors as it goes down. But like you said, it's not like overly filling at all.
Yeah, no,
Which like
it's-
to get a lot of flavor sometimes it's just like, wow.
Yeah, if you just want to have like a beer, sit down at a bar, I need it. But like if you just, let's say you get off work and you just want to have a beer, this I think would be a perfect go-to.
Yeah.
'Cause especially if you got stuff to do later,
feel like
like
it's-
some work at home.
Super good on draft too, I gotta imagine.
It's probably phenomenal. But yeah, dude, I'm gonna give this an electric rating. Very, very good beer. I'm definitely pretty excited for us to take a trip down to Motor City Brewing Works. I feel like that would be a fun little road trip for the slightly buzzed crew.
Oh dude, I'd be all about it. That'd be sweet.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We can make such a good day out of that.
Oh, dude.
Mobbing
Just
around the D.
hit a bunch of breweries.
Oh, dip.
Yeah. But Cal, you got any final thoughts on the beer there?
He's like, yeah, it's gone.
I don't really have much more to say. I feel like if I said anything else, it would just be forced. You guys have nailed it. I'm going to go probably electric with my rating. I think people should try it. This one offers something very interesting, keeping
Yeah.
it so light.
I think they really knocked it out of the park. This is just a great beer top to bottom.
Super good beer.
I like this. I have no complaints whatsoever. So,
No.
like,
No. Easy sipping, it's fluid, goes down
Yeah.
super well, doesn't sit heavy. All around great taste, good profile, drinkability is there. Motor City Brewing Works
Here we come.
checks all the boxes.
checks all the boxes. Good job, guys.
Yeah. I think that's about it, boys. You guys got anything else to say?
Other than don't forget to click that like and subscribe button and then follow the socials. You know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed Ghettoblaster as much as we did. And have yourselves a great night and stay slightly buzzed. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, y'all.
Aye.